Hey, what's up guys? The Explanation Pros here. Today, I'll explain a comedy fantasy horror film titled Ted. Spoilers incoming! The movie starts with a narration and a visual description of Christmas in the 1990s. Piles of snow, kids playing in the backyard creating snowmen and throwing snowballs. The first scene introduces John Bennett, the main character of the movie, but started as the most unpopular child in the neighborhood. As John Bennett walks to the crowd of children, they are bullying a Jew child, beating him up physically and taunting him. John, as the movie describes him as the most disliked child and unpopular, tries to interfere or join the commotion. The other children dislike him so much that the children ignore him, making John feel so envious about the other children in the neighborhood. As Christmas approaches, John Bennett's parents give him a best friend in the form of a teddy bear. John is so happy about his new friend as the bear can talk several codes like any other toy during that time. The teddy bear, with the size of a young child about 3 feet, makes John the happiest child during that day. John still wishes for his bear to be alive, as he makes his wish under the blanket that night. For an unknown reason, the teddy bear agrees and miraculously comes to life, as exactly how John Bennett wishes. The miracle of a toy or a teddy bear coming to life is a sure hit for the public. Teddy, or Ted, as he gains his name from people that brought him popularity, made his appearances on various television shows like The Carson Show and several advertisements. John and Ted continues to live their popularity and their famous life just like any other celebrity. As the movie progressed, the narrator sadly states that after years of being famous in the public media, the fame and popularity of Ted, as well as John, fades. 35 years later, and now John and Ted are fully grown adults, with Ted's appearance to be a little bit more frayed than before. He settles as a roommate of John, a man-child who lives with his teddy bear for all his life. John is now an agent on his local car rental agency and tries to live committed on his adult life. In this part, the movie starts to introduce John's girlfriend, Lori Collins, John's partner for a long time. Lori, as described in the movie, patiently waits for John for a marriage proposal for almost 4 years, as their relationship approaches the right time for marriage. John and Ted's relationship continues throughout their lives, and as adults, they spend their pastimes inhaling large quantities of weed, doing things that they used to do, spending their life carefree without thinking about any responsibility for the moment. As they sit on the couch, they always have this wishful thinking and imagination about their childhood hero, Flash Gordon, reminiscing their favorite scenes in the movie and the television. The movie implicitly describes the fear of Ted about John's relationship with Lori. Ted is afraid of losing his relationship with John as Lori spends John's time doing couple things and stuff. As Lori tries to live with John, Ted always tries to be with him for all time. During Lori and John's intimate moment, Ted interferes, explaining to John how scared he is, trying to ask Lori if it is okay to lay with John in their bed. John agrees and even sing with Ted's song in order to make Ted's fear disappear. The next day, Lori went to her work under the company name Flymount, where her office mates gradually talks about her relationship with John and John's relationship with Ted. Lori tries to defend the man-child's characteristics of John to her office mates until her boss came, asking for her work and reports. Later that day, Lori and John went out on a date in a fancy restaurant, talking seriously about their relationship and possible marriage. Lori and John happily remembering their laughter and joy throughout their lives regarding their dates, their epic moments and funny acts comes to a more serious topic, which includes John's opinions and standpoint about Ted's existence as his teddy bear and companion. John agrees with Lori's suggestion to ask Ted indirectly about their individual separation, as they are already grown-up adults, but settles to the idea that Ted must have a work first in order to have a boost in maintaining his possible own life. As soon as they went home, John and Lori finds Ted hanging out with his female friends, living out his life to the fullest, drinking beer and wine, continuing the life that John and him have. Lori shows a reaction of dismay as it is the same topic that she and John talks about during their dinner date. John decided to ask Ted to go out with him. The next scene shows that Ted and John on an animal museum having a serious one-on-one talk about their life and Ted's actions. John suggested Ted to act like an adult, having a life of his own and a family, living the best life that Ted can. As the reaction of Ted shows the anxiety and fear from possible temporary separation with John, he later on agrees and tried to calm himself about the things that he didn't expected. The next morning, John went to Ted on his first job seeking and interviews. They both agree that if Ted successfully passes the interview, they will be having their celebration at night. Ted, during his first interview, acted with his usual reactions with sarcasm, rudeness, and funny responses that will surely fail anyone who acts the same way with him. But the boss hired him as an employee in a grocery store, asking Ted to work as soon as possible. Later on, John helped Ted to move his things to Ted's new apartment. It is a hard scene for the both of them as it is their first time to be separated for almost 30 years of their existence. While Ted is on his work, Lori and John finds a perfect time to spend their moments together, finding peace in the absence of Ted, creating more time for each other. Lori and John both enjoy their moment together, On his work, Ted finds a beautiful coworker in the store, tried to flirt with her with his naughtiness. The woman is so fond of Ted's attitude and shows a favorable response for Ted. On John's work, he experiences different conflicts with his boss and his own work. John is so stressed that when Ted called, he was thinking if he must answer it. Ted, on the other hand, spends his time with his female coworker in the inventory room, doing sexual things together as their boss finds them doing it. Ted's boss talked to him about this matter, which made him upset. On the store's parking, a man approaches Ted with a suspicious behavior. Ted later on ignores the man as Tammy exits the store premises. Later on, Ted and John spend their time together, trying to get rid of the stress while smoking pot in John's apartment, thinking about the things they used to do, and also Flash Gordon. The next day, the two couple, Ted and Tammy, and John and Lori, spent their dinner all together talking about the things between them. When suddenly, Lori accidentally tells a story about the past of Ted that made the double date awkward. As Tammy exits the table, Ted follows her with a hurry. The next day, John escorted Lori to her company's event that showcases her boss' rich background. As the night progressed, John talks to Lori's boss, spending time while having a tour in the large mansion-like house. The conversation that John had with Lori's boss made John a little insecure as Lori's boss is showing interest towards Lori. A stressed and insecure John receives a call from Ted, inviting him to a party. John exits Lori's company event and went straight ahead to Ted's apartment without a doubt since Ted told John that the party will be showcasing Flash Gordon. John, speeding up thinking he is on a Flash Gordon movie, arrive in Ted's location in the nick of time. John and Ted spend their night with their action hero Flash Gordon, while hanging out with a lot of people, doing things that they enjoyed before and spending their life like there is no tomorrow. Singing, laughing, joking around while smoking pot and drinking beers. That is how the night went for the two. John forgets about Lori, which was mad at him. John exits the party in regret due to the possible results of his actions regarding his relationship. John and Ted had a commotion when John exits the apartment. John told Ted that he should have followed Lori's suggestion about his separation with Ted, as he is an adult man that is already 35 years old, and he should have avoided or stopped hanging out with his teddy bear that do not cares for him and gives him benefit. Upon hearing this, Ted's heart shatters as John leaves the apartment's area. Ted continuously thinks about the things that John said to him and decided to go to John's apartment in order to talk with John and Lori. Ted went to John's apartment and suddenly welcomed by Lori, Ted talks to Lori, pleading for a moment to talk to John. Lori allowed Ted to enter and talk to John. Upon meeting John, Ted talked to him with a serious tone about the life they had and seriously approached the problem between them. When John approaches Ted to reconcile, Ted attacked him saying things in order to get revenge about the things that John told him. But this act of Ted shows that Ted is still sorry but do not want the situation to be heavy or awkward between them. After the incidents that happened between Ted and John as well as Lori, Ted walks alone in the street when he is suddenly approached by the suspicious man, the same man that approached him on the store's parking lot. It turns out that Donnie, the suspicious man, has a son that wants to play with Ted, as he feels bad about the past incidents involving him and his lifelong best friend. Ted agrees to go to Donnie's house to play with his son. As soon as Ted reaches the house of Donnie, Donnie's son demands to play with Ted as he needs a new best friend. Ted is feeling a little bit off about what is happening, and it turns out that soon he will be abused by their family. Later on, Ted's idea comes to life as he is physically abused by Don's son whenever he refuses to play. Ted is locked in a room, captured and held by Donnie and his son. When he finds a chance to escape, Ted reached the phone and went to the bathroom, calling John and informing him about the situation. When John received the call, he immediately went to the house of Donnie. Unfortunately, Donnie finds out that Ted called John and decided to move out somewhere with Ted. Donnie put Ted in a sack and put him on a car's container. Ted tried to escape and struggles with Donnie. He successfully escaped the car after the accident, but it creates a cut in his belly. As a stuffed toy, he doesn't feel anything and continued to escape, running away from Donnie. Ted reaches for the tower in a baseball field, climbing up while being chased by Donnie. John approaches the situation and went straight for Ted in the said tension. Ted falls off the tower while Donnie is captured by the police. Ted is severely damaged as he is divided into two. John feels bad about what happened as he brings the remains of Ted back to his home. Lori, upon seeing the effects of the incident, tried to fix Ted and wished upon the falling stars in the sky to heal Ted and bring him back to life. The next day, Ted is completely alive, which creates a perfect resolution and ending for the movie. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.